have a question on good governance and GDP growth. The world leaders at a global summit concluded that good governance is an integral part of GDP growth. As also defined by United Nations, good governance is where authority and institutions are accountable, effective, efficient, participatory, transparent, responsive, equitable, and inclusive. On a scale of 0 to 100, where do we stand? And if we are to improve, can we get there? And if so, how? In the same context, I would like to quote something which is very well known to most of the people here, that China's success is because of the government. India's success is in spite of the government. Your views. Are good governance and GDP really interlinked? Can industry prosper and economy grow in absence of rule of law?
Look, it's a very peculiar issue because my own take is that 9% GDP and 20,000 Bombay Stock Exchange Index is hardly a barometer of India's health. 500 million people living virtually below poverty line. 16 states with 175 districts being controlled by Naxalites. And we tom-tom our economic progress. I don't think we should really be proud of what we have achieved. Yes, we have a great enterprise, and I would agree with your statement that whatever we have achieved, and we have achieved a lot, is in spite of governance. We don't need really government to, our people are so enterprising. I personally feel, and I have interacted with some of the best minds in legal fraternity in the world. I interact with them all the time. I can definitely say that Indians are second to none in the world. Our intellect is absolutely world class, and in every walk of life, people are so outstanding. Unfortunately, my own view is that we are completely hijacked as a nation by a few tens of millions of people, be it teachers, be it soldiers, be it policemen, be it politicians, be it judges, be it bureaucrats. All these people have hijacked this country completely. And it is therefore very difficult for us to bring back the real good governance because, it will take a long time. We as a society, are we willing to make a sacrifice to have better governance? That's the question mark we have to ask us. Are we willing to suffer pain even for a day? We are not willing to do that. If we don't do that, because look at the freedom struggle. Gandhiji and every leader during the struggle lived frugally, and they never hesitated in suffering pain. Today, there is no leader in society, whether he is a religious leader, they all fly in their private jets or have their own television channel, or political leader or other leaders who are willing to suffer that kind of a pain and lead the people into actually pressurizing the government to have better governance. Undoubtedly, governance and GDP are closely linked. There is no doubt about it, because today, I don't think human activity can be done independent of government, because in every walk of life, government crowds in our day-to-day life, and it is, resources are owned by government. We need to exploit those resources. Unless we exploit those resources, how can we really have progress? The infrastructure is to be built. It has to be built in a public-private partnership. But you need government, because unless government allows you to build a bridge across a river, you can't build a bridge. So in every walk of life, you need today a government. And unfortunately, we as a nation have given us so many laws. Most of them are completely antiquated and most of them are useless, that we can't do anything without. Even if you wanted to set up a good school for a good charitable purpose, you can't do it unless you get a permission from a civil education inspector who will ask you a million questions why you are doing it. So, this is where we have to have some kind of a pressure which is built by society to bring better governance, and to do that, the society will have to talk, they will have to debate, they will be prepared, they should be prepared to sacrifice, suffer pain, and have at least better values than what we have. Our biggest, I think, loss in last 30 years is loss of value. There is no value system in our society, as all we know. And unless you have, why is it that today in Western world, I mean, I can speak of my profession, I can definitely tell you that 90% of lawyers don't pay their taxes honestly. So what is to be done about that? I mean, these are the people who are supposed to protect the rights of others. In the Western society, I was once sitting with Lord Gough, one of the finest judges in England, who brought fantastic reforms in judiciary in England, House of Lords Judge. We have this, every 2 years we have a dialogue, it's called Indo-British Legal Forum. And both of us had presented a respective paper on a common subject, he giving the English version, I was giving the Indian version. And over a dinner table at the High Commission's house, I asked him a question. I said, Lord Gough, what would you do if, if a judge was facing corruption charges in your country? And he looked at me and looked at me and looked at me. And I was embarrassed. I said, did I ask him a wrong question? What happened? And he takes off his glasses and he says, young man, there has not been a single judge in England against whom there have been corruption charges. Now, I mean, look at the kind of moral fiber that they have. So, it's very important that today we have, I mean, good judges are not being appointed because good lawyers are not willing to become judges. My father was willing to make a sacrifice and became a judge at the cost of, his entire family. And I didn't want to. I was asked by Chief Justice Venkat Chelaya very personally, over 3 hours at his house, that Mr. Dave, I want you to be a judge. And I said, no, I don't want to be a judge. Because, I have seen how much my father suffered and I don't want my children to suffer like that. But, I mean, I was not prepared to make that sacrifice. Yes, I must confess that. But today, in public life, you don't have good people going in. In judiciary, you don't have good people going in. I don't know where you are going to get good governance from.